March is a done deal. It's time to input the final numbers, assess the damage, and look forward to the April budget. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel we talk about cash budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below. I would love to hear from you. Today, I'm going to input my numbers for the 5th week of March, and I'm also going to close the month of March. So the first thing that I want to do is a cash dump. I didn't spend all that much cash this last week. I had $100 at the start of the week, and I still have $70 left. So when I do my cash spending, I save the 20s, the 10s, and the 5s back, and any ones I put in the letterbox challenge, which I film at the end of each month. So I have quite a few ones to add this week. In fact, I think I have about 8. No, maybe more than 8. I think I had some from the prior week as well that didn't make it in last week. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of them. So I'm going to put these into my stash of ones for the month. And it's a big, nice, thick stack. And I will be putting this into the letterbox challenge in a separate video that should go up at some point this weekend. So look forward to that. So these will go back in here. And then I also have change. Not too much change this week, only about 50 cents or so, just because I didn't spend all that much cash, so I didn't get all that much change back. So that goes into the change bag here. And I'm not saving this money, accruing this money for any particular monetary goal. In other words, I'm not trying to save up X amount by Y date. I am just accumulating money to put toward Christmas. So that goes back in here. And I'm going to put this away along with the rest of the pouches. And we'll get started looking at the budget. So the first thing that I'm going to do is input the income for the week. And let me grab out a pen here. I think we'll use this one. So paycheck 2 came in. That was $3,071.62. But for the purposes of this sheet, I just round down. And then the cell phone reimbursement came in, and that was $100. So together with the housing refund, all of these numbers matched up except for this. So I need to add the 414 to what I had planned for. So that will bring me to $7,854 of income this month. And then I didn't have any other bills, so we can add those up and put in the final number. So I'm just going to get out the calculator and we'll do that. And I will skip ahead. Okay, that brings me to $4,282. So over $1,000 over budget. There is a plan to make up for this, and I'll go over that later. And the reason why this went over budget, well, there's a few reasons. The rent for the new apartment was higher because of the deposit that I had to pay. I had not initially planned on this because I was planning to be living somewhere else where I'd already made a deposit. So that will be offset by the refund that I got for that up here. There were also additional transit expenses. The electric bill was higher. What else here? And then I had a couple more savings that I had intended to put on pause, but I didn't put on pause. So likely that's just going to come out of my checking account buffer, and that will build up organically over time. If you saw me add 61 here instead of 71, that's because I had a refund here for renter's insurance of $10, so I just took that off here instead of subtracting the 10. Okay, so that's it for the bills section. And next, I'll work on the cash flow. And so I'll turn over to that page, and we'll do that here in just a sec. This is my monthly cash flow tracker. And of all the documents or trackers that I fill out each month, this is the one that makes me the most nervous because this is what my checking account looks like. So this is all of the money that comes in and goes out from my checking account. And I've had a couple of months where I didn't balance at the end. So I'm really hoping that this month it comes out exactly as it should. I had a couple more deposits this week. I had the cell phone reimbursement, and that was $100. And I also had paycheck two, and that was $3,071.62. This one I do to the penny because, like I say, this is the what's in the checking account, so I want to make sure that it balances. So the total inflows for the month were 3,071.63 plus 414.65 plus 100 plus 3,071.62. $6,657.90. Okay, and now for the outflows. I had quite a few this week. So brokerage, Roth IRA for 300. I had credit card payments, several of them. This card got $222.68. Another card, $248.71. Another card, $1,000. This one still has a balance on it, but I just made a payment because the balance was getting up there, and I don't like it when my balances creep up. I don't have any revolving credit card debt. I do pay them off every month, but when the balances start to get too high, I just make a payment to bring them back down, just for my own peace of mind. Okay, then we had the brokerage again, and this again was for the Roth IRA, $304. Another credit card payment, $186.27. Another credit card payment. And the reason that I have so many credit cards, $109.23 here, is because each of these gives me rewards in different areas. So some give me rebates on restaurants or grocery shopping, or cash back on travel. So that's why I have a variety of cards. Each one is for a specific purpose. And then a transfer to my savings account for the blip fund, $205. Okay, so that's everything that came out of the checking account. I am going to add all these up, and I will fast forward, and then we'll total it up at the bottom and see if we balance. My ending balance is $1,858.25. So I'll add these up, and then we'll do the math, and we'll see if this is what we get. All right, so the total here that I get is $9,333.45. So I'm going to add the starting balance to the money in. So that was $4,533.80 plus $6,657.90. And then I'm going to subtract $9,333.45. And that brings us to $1,858.25. So it does indeed balance. Fantastic. I am thrilled with that, especially considering the number of withdrawals that I had this month and how crazy this month was with the move and everything. If you've been following me for a while, you know the story. So the fact that the checking account balanced at the end of the month is great. I feel wonderful about that. So the next thing that I'm going to do is total up the expenses for this week, and that will be on the next sheet here. And I'm running out of room. So some interesting things happened this week. First of all, last week I booked this ticket for travel. I got a refund from Amtrak, so I subtracted that from the amount of the ticket on Flixbus. And then my credit card credited me the amount of the Flixbus purchase. So it got kind of crazy. So I actually have a negative $57.96, which was the total amount. This 41.46 is less the Amtrak refund. It just got kind of muddled. So what I'm doing is I'm just subtracting that from the total from this week. I'm taking it out of my cash spending. And also, there was another charge for Lyft that I'm removing because that was also related to the travel. So I'm just going to record what I spent in restaurants and what I spent on dining out, also because I'm running out of room. So for the week of the 28th through, well, I'll say March 28th through April 3rd, in DoorDash and restaurants, and this was for food, the total amount that I spent was $198.93. Now, the reason why this is high is because I had some friends come to town and I took a short road trip with a friend of mine. So we ate out for a couple of meals, and that's why that's high. But I regret nothing. I also didn't spend that much in grocery stores. In fact, that's going to be the next item on the list. So 328 through 43. This will be for Safeway and Target. There's a little bit of household in here, but it's mostly food. And that is $49.61. So totaling those together, 198.93 plus 49.61, $248.54. So through the back door, I actually came in under budget this week. It would have been over, but I ended up with a little bit of an under, just because of that refund from the credit card on the Flix ticket that I wasn't expecting. So I am going to go back to the budget. And conveniently, I just wiped out that number, so I need to add those in again. 198.93 plus 49.61. 248.54. Okay. So here we are. 248.54. Okay, so now I'm going to total up all of these, and we'll get the total wallet spend for the month. 360.59, 493.92, 404.66, 311.21. $1,818.92 on a budget of $1,250, so significantly over. But I have a plan for how I'm going to recover, and like I say, I'll go over that here in just a minute. So now I'm going to add up all of the savings and extra debt for the month. 255, 257, 251, 300, 304, 1,367. So the final numbers for income, 7,854. For bills, 4,282. Wallet spend, $1,818.92. Stockpiles, $1,560.39. And savings and extra debt, which for me is just savings, $1,367. So I'm going to take the 7,854 and we're going to subtract 4282, 1818.92, 1560.39, and 1,367. And that gives us a balance at the end of the month of negative $1,174.31. Oh, goodness. So, on the surface, it looks like a really terrible month, and it kind of was. There was a lot of unexpected spending. There was a lot of dramatics surrounding the move and things like that. A lot of things I didn't plan for. Some money came back that I didn't plan for. And I also increased my savings. Also, it was a 5-week month, and those are always expensive. So, the forces of the universe just kind of conspired to make March a really difficult month. But in a minute, I'm going to flip over to the April budget, and then I'll talk about how I'm going to recover. So I'll do that here in just a sec. It occurred to me that before I start looking at the April budget, I really should fill in the month end review for March. So I'm going to do that here real quick. So the income was 7,854. Total bills 4,282. Wallet spend $1,818.92. Stockpiles 1,560.39. Savings 1,367. And no extra debt because I don't have any. And total remainder was negative $1,174.31. Now, a lot of this is on a float because it's on credit cards, but I have the money to pay off the credit cards in April, so I'm not too worried about that. So the difference here is a positive 414. And this was because I got a refund from, uh, I'll just say apartment or apartments because it was more than one. I got a refund for the place I move out of, and I got a refund of a deposit that I put down on an apartment that I ended up not moving into. Okay, total bills. Difference here was 1,060. And the reason really is because savings, lip, and rent. Wallet spend difference is, let's see, I'm going to need the calculator for this. So 1250, 1892, $568.92. And this was largely due to moving. I had to buy things for the new apartment that I didn't need for my previous apartment. Things like a shower curtain hooks, new kitchen appliances, things like that, new furniture, all kinds. Okay, stockpiles. This was a positive difference of $39.61. And this is for the move. Total savings was more by 100 and what is that? $17. And this was because I upped Roth contributions. No extra debt payment here, so nothing to say here. And then the remainder, we're way off. So we'll start with 118 and we'll subtract 1,174.31. So the difference is 1,056.31. And the reason this is off is because overspent in several different categories. So starting with the positive on what went well, the refund for apartment move out and deposit came in early. And I also increased my savings rate for my Roth IRA. For Roth IRA. Okay, what needs improvement? Expense tracking. So I had a 5 week month in March because of the way that my budget weeks fall. I start on Friday and end on Thursday. And what happened in March is because I had only printed out one expense tracker sheet, I kept saying, I don't really need to use another sheet of paper. I'll just, tighten things up into this month. And things started to get confusing real fast. But once I committed to that, I decided I wasn't going to print out another sheet no matter what. And so in the future, when there's a 5 week month, I need two sheets. 2 expense sheets. And also, better planning for moving expenses. I was really focused on what I was going to need to spend to actually get the move from here to there. Things like moving supplies and the movers themselves and the deposit and the application fee and things like that. It didn't occur to me that I would need to buy more furniture or that I would need to buy more furnishings like I was talking about earlier in the bathroom. That just wasn't really on my radar. Of course, had I moved into the place that I initially intended to, I probably wouldn't have needed to buy those things. So it was a little bit of kind of being a victim of circumstance. But be that what is what be that as it may, I could have done a lot better with the planning. So better planning for moving expenses. And then this section down here at the bottom of things to remember for this time next year, this is what I threw in based on what was happening during the move and things that I want to keep in mind because I'm only planning on being here for about a year, maybe a year and a half. But I don't want to fall into the same pit next year. So that's the month end review. Not the prettiest picture, but it's honest, and that is the most important thing. So I'm going to put this back into the binder and we'll move on to the April budget because some of those numbers are already starting to fall in, particularly with the bills. So I'll do that here in just one sec. Here we are with the April budget. Now, at the time that I did this budget, I didn't have a whole lot of the figures yet for March, and I knew that March was looking precarious. So with my stockpiles and I'll show you the cash allocation sheet here, this is all kind of like fun stuff or extras that I had put in here, where I had a plan for what to do with the money if March didn't turn out as bad as it could have. But since the worst came to pass, probably all of these are going to go away, and the money that was allocated toward it will go to paying off the credit card for the things that I charged in March. So this $1,200 will more than cover the balance of what was due in March, or the negative that was the outcome of March, because I was negative 1,100 and something. So the 1,200 makes up for that, puts me back in the positive. Now, it does mean that I don't get to potentially buy this jersey or buy more furniture or take a weekend trip away, but it means that I have the money available to make myself whole again. So that is why, as the wheels were starting to kind of come off in March, I knew that I was going to be okay. So I took my foot off the brake just a little bit. Didn't go wild or anything, but I just a little bit because I knew that I had money available in April to pay for any overages, and it was a really stressful month to boot. So that being said, I can't input anything for income received in April, but I can zero this out. This was supposed to come in April, but it came in March instead. So I'm not going to get it in April, so that's going to be a zero. Also, I had planned on $500 for the previous apartment, and that is not going to happen because I actually ended up getting a refund. So that is zero. I also don't have a water sewer garbage bill from my new apartment, so that is going to be a zero. So not such a great zero here, but fantastic here. So I didn't get I already got the $400 that I applied to last month, but I also don't have to spend the $600 that I planned for here. But I do have an overage here with the Orca card. Orca is the regional transit pass in the Puget Sound area where I live. I had planned on spending $120, but I actually spent $147, which is fine. I'm still getting used to my new commute. The price of the fare that I pay every day is higher than I thought it was going to be, so that had to tick up a little bit. Renter's insurance came out, and that was exactly as expected. Savings for the Blip Fund came out, again, exactly as expected, $205. My iCloud subscription came out, and that was $3. So, other than the increase in the amount of transit fare or money that I had to put on my transit pass, everything else is either right on target or below. So that's great. And then everything else is still pending. So wallet spend, this will be for next week, so I don't have anything here. Stockpiles are probably going to, I mean, the money will stay here, but the allocation, again, probably will change. I'll work on that probably next week once things kind of start to settle down. Savings and extra debt, I had planned $300 a week to put toward my Roth IRA, potentially another $1,000 here. And that, again, would cover any additional expenditures from March. So I am well covered. All of this is planned for with the income that I was expecting in April. And I should get a bonus at the end of the month because I work in sales. I am bonused quarterly. I just don't know how much that bonus is going to be yet, especially once taxes are factored in. So we'll have to see how that's going to play out. But for now, the April budget is at least up to date. So let's move on to savings and we'll talk about that next. Okay, let's talk savings. This is my favorite part of the weekly update. And the reason is because I get to watch my balances grow. And this week, I contributed another $304 to my Roth IRA, and that was from both Game Night from Monday and the Savings Challenge books that are on Wednesday. I used to do them all in one on Mondays, but those videos were getting really long, especially once I went up to $300. So I decided to split them out this last week, and that's probably the way it's going to stay for a while. I'm hoping that I can incorporate some new games into Game Night soon. Should be some point in April, maybe not this next week, but hopefully the week after. So on the 31st, because I pre filmed the books, so I knew how much was going in, I contributed 304, and that brought the total contribution for the year to $1,112, which means I get to stamp in 3 more of the little sloths in the Sloth IRA tracker. So do that here with my $ stamp. 1, 2, and 3. So I'm already through the first row, and that feels really good, especially since I got a later start on this because I was working on building up the emergency fund first. So I'm going to put the stamp away, or at least to the side here. Next, let's talk about the emergency fund. I think that's what's up next. This recurring bill tracker, nope. Where is that? Oh, here we go, emergency fund. So my emergency fund is fully funded, but I am still earning interest on it every month. And this month, on April 1st, no foolin', interest, $40.04. So that brought my total savings to $12,250.44. So fantastic there. I'm not planning on contributing anymore to the emergency fund, but I will continue to track the interest every month. Then let's talk about the blip fund. Now, here on the blip fund, this is what I'm contributing to out of every paycheck. $200 just automatically goes in. And the blip fund, if you haven't seen it before, it stands for break lock if prompted. So if I have an unexpected expense that I need to get additional funds for, something I didn't budget for that came up that I have to pay it, not necessarily an emergency where it's going to last a while, like a job loss or an illness or anything like that, but just some unexpected expense that for whatever reason I forgot about or just happened to occur. That's what the blip fund is for. So my target for this fund is $2,400. So each segment is $200. And I did save another 200. Well, I put in 205 every paycheck. So now we're up to 1,605. And I can fill in another segment here. Now, I am not the best at doing this. In fact, every week for the last several weeks, or every time I've contributed for the last several weeks, I have ended up going over the lines. But I keep hoping that eventually I'm going to get better at this. So draw a line here. Now, with that bonus that I've got coming in later this month, I may decide to fully fund this early. We'll see. And actually, I'm going to use a protector here just to give me some more stability. And I'm using a highlighter so that it doesn't bleed through the page. This paper that I bought is not the highest quality. It's Amazon's brand, whatever their house brand is. And I picked a heavier weight just because I knew I would be doing some coloring and shading, but even so, it still goes quite a bit. So I've still got 4 more segments left, another $800, and I will be fully funded. But that's it for the savings for this week, and I think that's everything that I've got. We did the expenses, we did the cash flow, we did the income and the bills for both March and April. And we talked about savings, and we closed out the month of March. So again, the next video will probably be on Saturday, maybe Sunday, and that will be the letterbox stuffing for March. And then next week, join me on Monday for game night and Wednesday for the Savings Challenge books, where I'll be putting even more money toward my Roth IRA. And until I see you in the next one, take care.